Have any of you seen these pictures before?
Well, I haven't.
No, I don't think I've seen anything like these.
What I have seen is devastation on magazines. I've seen photographs of the devastation of large areas, but I've not seen any photographs of corpses.
David, Susan, have you seen these pictures before?
Never seen anything as horrific as that.
Susan, have they never showed you pictures like this at your school?
No, they never talk about the nuclear issue in school.
I think, especially when young kids, I mean, there's one here and it's horrible. You can only see by the wee hand that it's a child.
This one. Look at that.
Yes, that's a schoolgirl.
Just seems to, their eyes just seem to melt, you know, going by this, it seems to just drain all the moisture away from the whole face and everything. It's horrible. Look at that.
Kathleen, have you seen images like this on television at all that you can remember?
No, nothing like that. Just the Vietnamese girl. We saw that a couple of months ago. It was when she was running. Remember that? She was Kim. That was the only thing we had really. But I mean, she's still alive. These are.
Yeah, a little horribly disfigured.
Look at that wee girl's face, though. I mean, it's. Look at that, Susan.
Renee, have you seen these pictures before?
No.
Have they ever talked about this to you at school?
Yes.
What did they say about it, Renee?
They just said that they dropped the bomb.
And they didn't show you any photographs or anything?
No.
Renee, was that once they talked about it, or have they talked about it many times?
Not once or twice.
Nambi no pumala hasichula mbeshidwali. Asiyali kuba ngayambala sosia. Neni mba yamba van. Vasokuvan.
Even us adults would appreciate a gift of clothing, so that when we go to the adult education lessons, we would be wearing a pair of shoes. In fact, if this support was available, I would pass with such diction that the Frelimo party would be delighted. I have a request. I would like our children to be provided with a uniform because they have to use the same clothes at home and at school. In our school, we have nothing to sit on, and we don't have the right clothes to wear. There are children who attend the midday lessons, and because they have no shoes, they have to walk on the grass as the road is too hot for bare feet. All of us here have no shoes. We have nothing to eat while at school. Often we have to leave home without having eaten, and then leaving the school for home, hungry.
The news at 5:45 with Martin Lewis.
The British Embassy shuts down its office in West Beirut. After the hooligans, Chelsea get off with a warning. Top nuclear scientist admits Britain made mistakes in Australian atom bomb tests. Good evening.
The shadow burnt from.
Yeah, that valve wheel, that's the shadow of it, and it's been burned into the metal. Incredible heat.
It's unbelievable. Yes. Look at that, David. You see that?
David, we were talking about, we were asking Susan whether she'd ever dreamt about these things or had nightmares about them. Have you ever, can you remember ever having dreamt about?
Yeah, I've had quite a few nightmares about this sort of thing. Like a nuclear attack in this country. And just woken up in a bit of a state.
The home of Kathleen and Sam Smiley, David and Susan, lies a short distance from two of the most major strategic nuclear targets in the United Kingdom, the British nuclear submarine base at Farslane and the American nuclear submarine base at Holy Loch, currently holding the Polaris submarine and possibly destined for the Trident. Can you remember any of the dreams? I mean, are they about the country, or are they about the town here? Are they about your family?
Yeah, this town, the place that I know most. Maybe just walking along the street.
What happens?
One case a few months ago, I dreamt I was just walking, I think I was going to the swimming pool or something, and I saw these missiles flying over the hill. I just woke up then.
Вот интересно, Маша, вы никогда не ощущали ничего подобного? То есть кошмаров вот на эту тему ядерной?
I wonder, Masha, if you've ever had nightmares about nuclear war. Yes, a few times. But when you feel solidarity with a lot of people in your own country who wish you good, it brings comfort. You are not alone.
Und wenn ich hier die Bilder noch von den Überlebenden nach der Bombardierung mir ansehe,
when I look at these pictures of the bombardment, I also think that I experienced similar situations in World War II. Only those were common explosive bombs, not with the power of those thrown onto Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Die eingesetzten Bomben in Hiroshima und in Nagasaki. Für euch ist das natürlich etwas ganz anderes.
For you, it is very different, of course. You have never seen this many pictures or all this misery as I've seen it.
Wie ich es gesehen habe.
We have never experienced anything comparable. War is something terrible. And this also is terrible. But the effects of this special bomb are especially terrible. This is not only an explosion where something is destroyed, but also where future generations suffer for years.
Und so Generationen, die diesen Bombenabwurf nicht mitbekommen haben, die haben noch diese Nachwirkungen zu spüren bekommen.
one of the largest concentrations of nuclear weapons per acre of earth anywhere in the world, is hidden in quiet countryside like this, all over northern Germany, and on both sides of the border, dividing the country.
Well, I was born in Hiroshima, and I've been brought up in the climate of the atom bomb. So I'm at a loss when I'm asked objectively how I feel or what I think. I have never looked at this problem. Weren't there some of your primary school friends who carried scars? Yes. I had a friend who had a keloid. Mrs. Mori, didn't you ever take Teruko into the city with you after the explosion? I am not sure, but I might have carried her with me on my back in the week after the explosion. This is the first time I've heard this. This means that I was also exposed to secondary radiation, doesn't it? You were not exposed directly, but within the week, when residual radiation was still there, you might have gone in with me. I'm really not sure.
20年も白内障でおりますのはやっぱり原爆症の一つじゃないかと思っておりますけど。
The reason I have been suffering from a cataract for the last 20 years may be a symptom of radiation disease. Cataracts are one of the symptoms of radiation disease.
Also ich habe bislang noch nicht sehr viele Bilder über diese Sache gesehen.
I read some reports, and I heard a lot about it. But I haven't seen many pictures of the event. So I was confronted in a very hard way when I saw these pictures. And so I can only tell you my feelings at that moment. Especially this picture from the school.
Im Besonderen hat mich dieses Bild
von der Schule hier
mitgenommen, ja. Also es ist für mich fassungslos, hier die Schule mit total zerstörter Umgebung und dann
It is unbelievable for me,
die Menschen, die Kinder,
this school with everything destroyed,
ich kann sowas nicht
the
begreifen,
innocent children.
im Zusammenhang damit ich bin einfach fassungslos über dieses Bild,
I am
speziell dieses Bild.
simply
Gerade weil hier
upset
keine
by
Menschen
this
mehr draußen sind,
picture.
die Menschen sind weg. Liegen hier eben nur noch
Especially
Reste der
because
Menschen
no
rum, die
people
nicht
are to be
vergleichbar
seen
sind.
anymore.
Martina, habt ihr in der Schule früher darüber gar nie gesprochen? Also
Martina, have you never talked about this in school, at least theoretically?
Wurde sich damit theoretisch auseinandergesetzt.
Yes, it was discussed, theoretically, that the first atomic bomb fell at the end of the war. But this was only treated as facts. It happened then and then, the Americans dropped the bomb, and so on. but that you had feelings about it, or that we talked about it in a different way, other than as facts. That was not possible at school.
Also weiterführen oder dass Gefühle hochkamen oder dass wir in irgendeiner Weise darüber sprechen konnten, außer mit Fakten und Ähnlichem, war nicht gegeben in der Schule.
$222 million.
British scientists once thought of exploding a nuclear bomb near Wick in the north of Scotland, but it was too wet, so they settled for Australia. A report next.
Quelles sont vos réactions devant ces photos?
Bien, ces photos sont tout simplement horribles.
These photos are just horrible.
Ça montre à quel point les puissances du monde, pour asseoir leur domination, ne reculent devant rien. Bien que celles-ci...
They show to what point the world powers are prepared to enforce their domination, that they will stop at nothing. Even if these photos convey some moral values, the more I look at them, the more it strikes me that it's all lies. In fact, that people will stop at nothing, even at criminal atrocities, to dominate others.
Même devant le crime le plus atroce, pour dominer les autres, pour imposer sa force aux autres. Je ne sais pas ce que tu vois, toi. Moi, c'est la première impression qui me vient à l'esprit maintenant.
Ça me fait penser à la désintégration de la
They make me think of the whole planet disintegrating.
Des enfants comme
What
ça,
on
qu'ils ont
earth
fait,
did these children do?
C'est pas possible. Je suis sûre que ce que montrent les photos ne représente même pas un centième de ce qui s'est réellement passé.
I'm sure this is a small fraction of what it was really like after the bombing.
I don't feel like I knew enough. I don't feel like we had, they, like my mom said, they talked about it happening and that it did happen. It was the fact that it happened. But, in terms of human suffering, I don't think that, the realization was there that was even emphasized at all. And so it was very subdued, I think, in our background, actually. And even recently, there hasn't been, considering all the things that are happening now that are in common with this, it seems like that it would be brought up more, but I don't see that it is. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the way I feel too. And most of the information I had about it when I was in school and so on is just up to the time of the dropping of the bomb, and then after that, there wasn't too much available.
Ron, what about at your workplace? Have you ever discussed what happened in 1945 with any of your colleagues at work? Have they ever raised this question with you?
No, it's something that we don't discuss. It hasn't been brought up.
Est-ce que ça vous évoque d'autres photos?
Does it bring to mind other photographs?
Oui, un petit peu la guerre d'Algérie, bon, pas tout à fait comme ça, mais...
Yes,
c'est tout de
in a
même
way.
des horreurs aussi. Hein.
Photos of the Algerian War.
Oui, bon, il y a d'autres
Yes,
photos, mais qui
there
sont
are
pas
other
aussi,
photos, but they're not as bad.
on montre
There's
pas,
napalm, for
tant
instance,
de-
which was used during the Algerian War in Kabylia.
Il y a par exemple le napalm qui a été utilisé pendant la guerre d'Algérie, en Kabylie et dans d'autres régions où il y avait le plus de maquisards. Bon, c'est vrai, c'était des bombes très destructrices, mais pas à ce point. Je crois que là, c'est le point culminant.
It's true that the weapon was very destructive, but not to this degree.
J'ai jamais vu des images ou des photos aussi fortes par rapport aux destructions.
Ça fait penser à des rôtis vivants.
They make me think of living roast meat.
C'est terrible.
These people who've been burnt alive.
On fait pas de choix, en fait. Bon.
They didn't drop the bombs on the Japanese government buildings. It's the population who bore the brunt.
Là, c'est les populations qui
sûr.
en ont train
De toute façon, ça a toujours été
Yes,
des guerres.
in reality, populations have no say in these wars. It's the governing powers who do all this.
En place qui font tout ça, mais c'est les peuples qui payent.
But it's the people who pay the price.
In this space live Elena Ortega, her husband Pancho Lopez, and their children Clara, Felice, Cruz Santa, Nachor, Wheezy, Arturo, Tonio, and Petra. Anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2 of the population of Mexico lacks drainage and sewage facilities, toilets, drinking water, electricity, floors other than dirt, adequate footwear, and social security. 60% of Mexico's labor force earns less than a minimum wage.
Razas del mundo. Y esos que están inventando esas cosas, ¿verdad?
Queremos estar, aunque sea pobres, pero en paz.
Sí, con vida.
Así es, con vida. Que si tengo un harto dinero y me andan siguiendo con las bombas y carabinas.
Sí. No.
Aunque pobres mejor, pero...
It's better to be poor, but to stay in peace.
Yo creo
Nobody really wins in a conflict like this.
Al querer estar en paz.
They could destroy the whole world in minutes. He who drops the bomb doesn't die? Yes, everybody dies in minutes. And this was just for testing the bomb, wasn't it?
Ahora sí, todos.
Sí, parejo.
$2,700 people work at the Pantex plant in Amarillo, of whom approximately 300 assemble the nuclear warheads. It is said, though not confirmed, that most of the assembly workers are Mexicans and women.
When we saw the first train go on these tracks, it was pretty scary because it was just the two of us, and we came out and watched the train go by, and it looked like something out of Star Wars or out of your nightmares. It made us feel cut off and fragmented and alone. But we realized that the tracks connect towns, that's why they're there, and that it would be possible to build a community along the tracks of other people who also believed that nuclear weapons were wrong. And so we began to phone back down the line. We'd get a name from a friend and phone that person and say, "Did you know that there was a train with 200 hydrogen bombs going through your town?" and they would be very horrified usually. And then we would give them some ideas about things that they might do. They might go out and watch the train. They might vigil, they might leaflet, so that people in their town would know. And in time, a chain of maybe 250 little communities has grown up all along these railroad tracks from here to Pantex, which is in Amarillo, Texas, and which is where the weapons are assembled, and from Pantex back to the East Coast again, where the weapons are also loaded on submarines. And so what used to be a sign of division and separation and powerlessness has become a real sign of hope and connection, because as the trains move now, these little groups, maybe 1 or 2 people even in some towns, will go out and watch the trains move and draw public attention to the fact that they're going through the towns. And in some places, people resist by sitting in front of the trains to stop them, feeling very much as though they were trains in Nazi Germany, taking people into the concentration camps. And that if one person says, if God is, then somebody needs to be on the tracks in front of those trains.
One of the central points for discussion between President Reagan and Prime Minister Mulrooney at this summit is the replacement for the 1950s vintage early warning system, which is strung out along the north of Canada and the south of Greenland, purportedly to warn Canada and the USA against incoming Soviet bombers. This system, the so-called dew line, is to be modernized at considerable expense and is to be renamed the North Warning System. It is rather doubtful that anyone has asked the opinion of the people of Greenland about all this. Certainly none have been invited to this summit.
C'est juste aller au théâtre en un angle différent. Ça veut dire que Raymond Saint-Pierre va faire son topo, pas quand il rentre à ce moment-là, ou je sais pas, mais ça va être avec la devanture. Mais toi, tu pourrais être au Grand Théâtre même.
You could be up front. You could be at the Grand Théâtre facing the limousines that are arriving. You see, at that moment, you will be at the Grand Théâtre, but the people won't know what's happening. What they'll see will be the lights coming. Or else in front of Grande Allée. If they take Grande Allée, it's a very broad avenue. But don't make any mistakes, because they're not going to go by a second time. But you can't film inside, you know that, eh? No, not at all. It's a controlled pool. Very controlled.
C'est pool contrôlé, là, mais très contrôlé à ce moment-là.
Vous avez l'impression que des gens en Algérie qui ont...
Have people in Algeria seen these images often?
Pas souvent, non, je crois pas, c'est très rare.
No, I don't think so. It's very rare.
Non, c'est en Algérie.
Personally, I have never seen pictures like that anywhere, neither on television.
Ni d'images à la télévision qui ressemblent à ça. Bon, on en parle de temps en temps de Hiroshima, de Nagasaki, de l'armement nucléaire.
Sometimes they talk about Hiroshima and Nagasaki or nuclear weapons, but it's just words. For the moment, they just want to give the impression to the public that all this is not serious. It's just a more powerful weapon. That's the impression they try to give the public.
Qu'on fait ressortir au public ou à la population algérienne. Dans le système éducatif, moi j'ai fait toute ma scolarité en Algérie.
All my education took place in Algeria, and neither a teacher nor any history course ever mentioned the events in Nagasaki or Hiroshima, or ever spoke of nuclear arms. In Algeria, they only deal with North African history.
Uniquement, bon, à l'histoire de l'Algérie ou du Maghreb.
Quelle histoire!
And what a history. Algeria is only interested in improving her own image. Nagasaki, Hiroshima are ignored by the educational system.
Pour les essais nucléaires dans le Sahara, par exemple, qu'est-ce que c'était, janvier 60, 1960?
En 1960, le 13 février 1960, il y a eu la première explosion française nucléaire au Sahara.
On February 13, 1960, the first French nuclear bomb was exploded in the Sahara.
La première explosion nucléaire
Yes,
faite par la France
that's
au
right.
Sahara.
This event is known in Algeria. It's even taught at school. But the tests went on, I think, up to 1967, and school children are not told, are not informed that the testing went on after independence.
Mais ça s'est poursuivi, je crois, jusqu'en 1967, et on n'informe pas, on ne dit pas aux écoliers qu'il y a eu d'autres essais nucléaires après l'indépendance.
Ouais, c'est-à-dire qu'après l'indépendance, tout a été réglé, c'est fini, on n'a plus de problème. Donc c'est pas ça du tout.
Et or que dans les accords d'Évian, au sujet de l'indépendance de l'Algérie, je crois
In the Evian treaties on Algerian independence, it was stipulated that the nuclear tests should continue in the Sahara, and nowhere is that to be found in the official history of Algeria.
L'histoire officielle telle que le présente l'Algérie.
Et vous connaissez la ville où ça s'est passé?
Do you know where it happened?
Non, personnellement, je
No, I don't.
Enfin, je sais que ça s'est
Well, I know it occurred in the Sahara near Regan.
Du côté de Regan, mais sans plus.
But that's all the information I have on the subject.
Information à ce sujet.
We also filmed in Mexico with a family in the country's growing middle class to see if they had been given more information than the poorer majority. Off the west coast of Mexico, the nearest landmass is French Polynesia. So, well, how much discussion in Mexico has there been about the militarization in the Pacific, and in particular about the explosions, the French explosions in Polynesia? Here we meet Maruca, a university psychologist, her brother Carlos, and Maruca's sons Alvaro and Carlitos, both of whom are studying at what would be termed a good school in Cuernavaca.
Impressionante.
How much information has there been on television in Mexico about the French explosions?
¿Qué tanto han hablado en la televisión en México de las explosiones, detonaciones de los franceses?
Nada, no he oído nada.
Nada.
Nada. Nada.
Alvaro and Carlitos, how much in your school have they talked about the French explosions?
Álvaro y Carlitos, ¿qué tanto en la escuela han hablado de las explosiones de los franceses?
No, nada, no hemos hablado nosotros.
Not at all.
Hasta ni sabía que
I didn't even know about the French explosions.
en Francia.
Yo, no sé, de otro tipo de pruebas sí, pero de Francia no he oído.
I knew about the other tests, but not about the French ones.
Nen her o bahono I te ani ata oi me te turu. Nen he e o bahono ia o no te mea I te mo
It was rather hard in the beginning for these French Europeans who reached this land to explain about the harmful effects of nuclear explosions, whether it was a language difficulty or because they'd been sent out here under a sort of verbal injunction called military secret. Perhaps that is why they were unable to explain to us the facts.
Te vene pātara whiwhi e ore e gero ai e rātou I te hamaramara mai a mātou. Ko e noa tumu parau mata muaroa nene hapapui roto I te iwi rata oa e iwi mai nei au. O I hoi o te tapu ipo inoa ai e te tata teiti nā roto I te mou rau e rawe rau.
There is one basic thing, though, and that is the cover-up with the Tahitians through all sorts of maneuvers, saying that there would be no ill effects from these explosions. What did they say? That they had been living with the Tahitians from the beginning. They said, "We have wives, we have children, we had no fear about coming here to Mururoa, so you and I, it's all the same. No ill effects are to be had."
Ua tamata mātou I tua tapapai muri mai, te e tā rātou parau e tapuni muni rāpha, e wahine tā mātou, e tamari I tā mātou, ai tā mātou I te harat amai mūruru o ne, I te teme mātāmua te e parau rawa, I te teme mātāmua, ai te pēa pēa, ho ea o e wau, e wahine tā o e tamari I tā au, ai te hoi whiwhi e ro ai roto.
Les enfants ou les gens qui sont plus jeunes, j'en vois là, est-ce que justement, eux qui n'avaient pas été confrontés à cette image-là,
The children, the younger ones here, having been faced with these images, what do you think?
J'en avais beaucoup entendu parler.
Well, I heard about them a lot at school, but looking at the pictures today, they leave one in doubt. It's difficult to know what is really going on.
On ne peut pas vraiment savoir ce qui se passe vraiment.
Quand on a idée de voir des images comme ça, quand des images comme ça, on s'y trouve confronté alors qu'on n'en a pas l'habitude.
When one is confronted with pictures he's not used to, what precisely can one do?
Premièrement, d'abord, c'est une réflexion. C'est parce que c'est quelque chose de très grand.
First of all, to think it over deeply, and that is a long process. To think whether we are really doing what we should to bring a lasting solution, or whether it's only a palliative.
We organized a public discussion in Toulouse, a key armament and aerospace center in the south of France. Few of the local community had ever seen these photos of Hiroshima and Nagasaki before, and neither had they seen the maps we specially researched and prepared, showing the nuclear bases in France. This discussion takes place in a rented television studio outside the city.
L'opinion, il faudrait justement montrer plus souvent des images comme ça. Je pense à mes enfants qui sont ici présents.
In order to make public opinion aware of it, pictures like this should be seen more often. I think of my children who are here with me today. They don't know at all. They've heard of Hiroshima, but they've never seen these pictures. That's why I think there should be more information, so that people are more conscious of the real dangers looming on mankind from the misuse of nuclear power.
Voir ces photos, je pense que ça peut montrer à tous ce que l'homme peut faire, ce que la technologie peut faire à l'homme lui-même.
These pictures, I think, can tell everybody here what man can do. what technology can do to man. I've seen these pictures mostly on TV, and when I see the mushroom on the screen, I feel a fear which is primitive. But when I see burned people's faces on TV, they affect me so much more. There are two ways to react to them. Either one says, it's too horrible, I can't do anything, it destroys everything. Or one says, it's too horrifying to ever let it happen again.
Ça peut donner peut-être un autre comportement où l'homme se dit, c'est trop horrible, il faut vraiment que je fasse quelque chose pour que ça ne se reproduise plus.
¿Habían visto esos hechos antes? ¿Habían visto los resultados de esas bombas que habían tirado?
No, nosotros no, por aquí. No. Aquí no había llegado eso.
La televisión nunca hablaba de eso.
Solamente hemos visto cosas que pasan en la televisión.
¿Qué han pasado en la televisión?
Well, you've seen the results of this atom bomb. Have you seen these things before? No. You never heard about that?
Los misiles nucleares.
Yes, we have seen some of these things that have been shown on TV. The missiles and the constant danger.
Después de saber eso ya.
We are afraid now. We are really afraid. Before we didn't think of that. Now we're afraid they'll press the button.
No aprieten el botón.
Que no.
Que no aprieten el botón porque entonces sí.
Vamos a luchar porque no.
Esos gobiernos tan
These powerful governments, they should spend their money on people that starve, on people that don't have any clothes or shoes or education or medication. We ask for that.
Calzado, educación, medicina. Eso es lo que se pide, pues, y toda la humanidad yo he oído, pues, por ahí, comentarios, ¿verdad? Que eso queremos, pues.
All the races of the world want that. We want our peace and our tranquility.
Queremos la paz, la tranquilidad. Entonces, esos presidentes que están haciendo eso, yo quisiera que vieran, ¿verdad?
And we should ask these presidents who are involved in these arms campaigns that they should realize what is necessary in the world. Instead of destroying all the poor people, they should hold hands together and go around the world and look at the situation of the people.
Entonces, yo eso es lo que pido, pues, a los presidentes, a los de las grandes potencias que tienen tanto dinero.
Tienen todo dinero.
This is our plea to the presidents of the big powers.